Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio, it's time for Family Business Radio. Showcasing outstanding family businesses and the advisors who assist them.
Good afternoon. This is your host, Anthony Chen, with Family Business Radio. We have a couple of great guests today. So our first guest today, I would like to welcome Michelle Coyne with Coyne Pest Control. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Anthony. How are you?
Doing good. And yourself?
I'm well. Looking forward to the show.
Great. So kind of share with us a little story as to how did Coyne Pest Control come to being? What motivated you guys to create your pest control business?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, it was kind of a dream of my husband's for a long time. So Chris and I are co-owners in the business, and I actually came from the nursing home world. So I managed nursing homes for 25 years. And when I got married to Chris 14 years ago, he was working in the pest control industry and really, really enjoyed it and worked for some of the bigger companies and really learned a lot while working for them. But he always felt like it was possible maybe to maybe spend a little more time with the customers, treat them a little better. And not only customers, but employees, because a lot of times in the pest control world, employees are pushed to do a lot of stops in a day and, get it all done and, still have happy customers. And sometimes that's difficult. And the other thing that I think the reason why Chris loves this industry is he is a problem solver and he loves puzzles. So when he's not doing pest control, you'll see him doing crosswords and Sudoku and, using his brain in all these ways, as well as putting together puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. He loves doing that. And so it's just sort of in him to look at a situation and try to figure out how to solve it. And that's a lot of what pest control is. You're doing an inspection. You're trying to figure out how the insects got into the house and how to prevent them from not getting in again. And so with all of that, we were fortunate enough to be able to start. He started small by himself and just by word of mouth mostly grew. And as he kept growing and we finally added a technician, then, we kind of started getting bigger than what he couldn't do the technician and the office work. And so I ended up joining him, and now it's a family business. And with my background in caring about people and his background in solving problems, we sort of make, a great partnership. And we've been really fortunate to be in business since 2010 and going stronger than ever. So we're excited, and it's been a great journey for us.
So kind of take us, what's it like experiencing, let's say, for example, if your husband came over and began inspecting the place, what is that experience like with the customer?
What does that?
What's the experience like for the customer? Someone that's just engaging with you guys for the first time?
Sure. So generally speaking, usually people call with some sort of issue. They think they have some sort of issue. So they're either calling saying, I've got this bug or that bug, or I'm afraid I have this infestation or that infestation, like termites or rats or mice or something like that, bed bugs, things like that. So usually, we can get some information from them over the phone, and then we're sending a technician out. And the first thing they're going to do is inspect. They're going to listen to the customer, hear what their concerns are, why they think they have what they have, and then they're going to start on the inside and outside of the home and inspect and see what they come up with. And see, sometimes the customer's right on, ding, ding, you knew exactly what your problem was. And other times the customer, was fearful of something that wasn't so. And so we're able to relieve their mind on that and take care of the issue sometimes much easier than they were worried about. So it's really hearing, what the customer has going on, and then looking, based on our experience of what that might be, and usually finding some evidence, and sometimes identification, and sometimes the occasional invader in the house. We don't know every single insect out there, so we'll utilize the University of Georgia's Extension Office if we get something unusual that we're not exactly sure what it is or how to treat it, and we'll take that to the Extension Office. They'll identify it for us, and then we can appropriately treat it. So pest control is really about identifying first what the issue is or the insect, and then what's the best way to treat it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So kind of in unusual situation where a lot of people are social distancing and working at home a lot more, can you tell us kind of what the top myths are in kind of pests at home? Let's say, for example, mosquitoes being the big one. What can a homeowner do to kind of minimize the risk?
Right. So mosquitoes are really bad this year. We've had a lot of intermittent rain and then get super hot after it rains. And those are perfect breeding grounds for mosquitoes. So we've had a lot of people call regarding mosquitoes. And there are a lot of things homeowners can do. In fact, they're a big partner with us. I mean, we do obviously we'll fog yards for mosquitoes. And that certainly will help. It's not an elimination. It's a mosquito reduction. But it really is a partnership with the homeowners. So if homeowners can really be cognizant of what is in their yard that might be holding water, and really kind of make a round maybe once a week and empty that out. It's a big myth that mosquitoes need a lot of water to breed in. They don't. A bottle cap tipped upside down with water in it can definitely breed a good share of mosquitoes. So it only takes a small amount of water. So if you think about things like children's toys, if they sit out in the yard for a week and nobody's been out there because it's been rainy, and then it stops raining and gets hot, and there might be little pockets in those toys that are holding water. Kiddie pools, all of those should be, if you make a round once a week and dump out all of those things, you will definitely reduce the mosquito population in your yard. So potted plants sitting on the back deck, you have a little dish underneath the plant and it's holding rainwater, that will breed mosquitoes. Even things like holes in trees. So if you have kind of an older tree that has a big hole in it, that can breed mosquitoes. So there's kind of no way to empty out the water from the tree. So you can do things like fill them with sand so that they don't hold water. Or, you can go to your local hardware store and buy, they're called like mosquito dunks. And you can drop one of those in, and that will prevent the mosquitoes from breeding. One of the places that I really see people forgetting about is the downspouts. So, we have downspouts. First of all, your gutters for sure. So many people, have their gutters clogged up and it stays moist and wet. And of course, that's, mosquitoes love that kind of spot to breed in. But even when your gutters are cleaned out and the water's flowing, the downspouts that lay on the ground that kind of move the water away from the house, those sometimes aren't slanted downward, and they might be more flat, and they will actually hold water inside. And that's a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes too. So if you get educated about those kinds of things in your yard, and you take a trip around, once a week and empty all those things out, you'll see you have a lot less mosquitoes in your yard, and you can actually enjoy your backyard.
Well, thank you for sharing. I didn't even know about the whole bottle cap, just having more than enough space for
yes.
mosquitoes to breed.
Yes.
Okay, that puts things in a to-do list for me.
There you go.
Right after.
There you go.
Kind of looking into the next pest, a big concern is for homeowners is termites. I mean, it can really cause a lot of damage.
Yes.
What's a great way for a homeowner to begin looking for conditions to help them mitigate that?
Yeah, so my husband always says there's two types of homes in Georgia, either those being protected from termites or those that have or will get termites at some point in time. So termites are very prevalent in Georgia, and they do millions of dollars worth of damage a year. And beyond the damage, just the headache that they cause homeowners. I mean, if you think about what that would feel like if you tear into a wall and see that the whole beam has been chewed up by mosquitoes. We were talking about mosquitoes, chewed up by termites. Not only is it kind of scary about the structure of your house, but also just the pain of having to have contractors come in then and start, rebuilding that and making the house structurally sound. So there's a lot of headaches that go along with it too. So it really is wise to prevent termites. But there are, just like the mosquitoes, there are things that homeowners can do as well to try to mitigate termites infesting their home. So you're looking at things like wood to ground contact. So a lot of times porch steps or deck posts, things like that, are going to be wood that is in direct contact with the ground. So anytime you have that, it's a perfect avenue for termites to start into your, in eating that wood and then move into your home. And so you want to put a cement base down between that wood and the ground. The other thing, when you're looking at purchasing a house, it really does make sense to have a professional come and look at it from a termite standpoint. Sometimes stucco homes are very hard to tell if there's termite damage or not, especially if it was not built appropriately. A lot of times, even though builders know better, they will run the stucco straight into the ground. And when they do that, there's kind of no, on a house with siding, there's a foundation on the bottom of cement. And so you can kind of see the mud tubes that the termites make as they're coming into the house. But when that stucco is going straight into the ground, there's no way to kind of see the beginnings of termites or those mud tubes. And so things like that, the wood to ground contact, making sure I see in fact, my husband just this morning called. He did a termite installation up and coming, and the homeowner had a cord of wood stacked up against the house. That is just ripe conditions for termites. And so he had to ask her to remove that. It really should be, if you're going to store firewood on your property, and a lot of people these days are having fire pits. I know they're the new hot item, and so people are buying wood and keeping it around their house or getting wood. And you really want it to be about 20 feet or more away from the house, because that's going to be conducive to termites as well. So any real, moisture, termites have to have moisture. In fact, they're very fragile. So if they get out into the air and there's no moisture, they'll die. So they're going to try to stay wherever there's moisture. So you want to try to keep moisture in wood, moisture in food. So you want to try to keep the wet wood away from your house, and make sure the wood to ground contact. And also one other thing, when you're bringing wood into your home, such as furniture, maybe antique furniture or used furniture, sometimes even brand new furniture, you do want to inspect it from the standpoint of insect holes in the wood or whatever, because sometimes people bring termites into their house that way, by bringing furniture into their house that's already infested.
That's a lot to consider for a homeowner, keeping whether it be mosquitoes or termites out. So for a homeowner that's looking to hire a pest control professional, what is something that they should look into consideration? Why would they look into Coyne Pest Control?
Well, a couple of things. I think, of course, I'm prejudiced. We own this company, and we feel like we take really good care of our customers. But I think that there are a lot of pest control is kind of a hot business right now. So there's a lot of bigger businesses buying up small mom and pop type pest control companies. It's been very active, the mergers and acquisitions over the last couple of years. And so sometimes smaller companies are being bought out by larger companies, and they don't change the name of the company. So customers still feel like they're dealing with the same company. In reality, they're dealing with a much larger company. And not that some of the larger companies don't do a great job, they do. But I think that sometimes, they start looking more at profits and how to squeeze more money out and how to do more stops and less time and things like that. So for our company, there's a couple of things. One, I think we're really proud of how we take care of our employees. We try to do a really good job to have happy employees, because we feel like when our employees are feel valued and taken care of, that they're going to go out and do a good job for the customers. And for our customers, we believe that the technician has to have time to do a good job for the customer. So if we're expecting them to spend 20 minutes on the property and do an inspection and identification and elimination all in 20 minutes, isn't going to happen. So what happens is the inspection and the identification go by the wayside, and then we just spray a product or use a product indiscriminately, hoping, crossing our fingers and hoping it's going to do the job. So in our company, we actually schedule approximately an hour for each pest control service. So the technician actually has the time to treat the home appropriately after an inspection and, after speaking with the homeowner. We don't hold anyone to a contract. So that's another thing out there in the pest control world. Some companies like to get a homeowner to sign a year contract, and then, you're kind of stuck because you've already paid that money, and whether they're doing a good job or not, you feel like, well, I paid for them for a year. So with us, we don't hold anyone to a contract. We're going to, if you want to cancel or you're not happy with our service, we're going to cancel with no fees. Of course, we're going to try to make sure you're happy before that happens. But, and that's another thing. We have just an unmatched guarantee where if somebody's not happy, we're going to come back and we're going to retreat and do what we need to do to make it right and make them satisfied. Otherwise, they're not going to pay us a dime. So, we feel confident that we can have them feel good in the end and have their problem solved. So I think, I think that, and, we all know about small businesses, but in reality, a small business, you're not calling Mr. Orkin's cell phone number at 8:00 at night. But if you're one of our customers, you probably have my cell phone. And so if there's ever any issues like that, you're going to be able to reach out and get something resolved quickly, and not have to go through several layers of people.
Yeah. So as we're kind of heading into the fall season, what is, I guess, the most common pest issues now, and something that they would have to deal with this time of the year?
Yeah, usually this time of year, of course, right now through the transition of summer and fall, you're going to see ants becoming a problem again. They're going to be on the move. And so we'll get some ant calls. But also, once we move into fall and it cools off, which it's supposed to this week, I don't know, the hurricane's going to keep it nice and moist, though, even though it's supposed to be cooler. But once it starts to cool off, you start to see things like box elder bugs. Will get calls, and those are, you either have them or you don't. And if you don't have them, you don't even know what I'm talking about. And if you have them, you're like, oh my goodness, they're covering the whole side of my house. Well, what am I doing? And they're coming through the windows now. So like things like box elder bugs, ladybugs, stink bugs, they all kind of have the same behavior. So once it starts to get cold, they are what we call an occasional invader. So they don't intend to be in your house, but they're just looking for a warm spot. So as it gets cooler outside and the sun, whatever side of the house the sun is hitting, you'll see them start to congregate there in the fall. And like I said, sometimes they will completely cover a wall, a door, a whole sunny side of the house. And so that's a little scary when you pull up and you're like, oh my goodness, what is that on the side of my house? But again, they're pretty harmless, although they can get inside the house. So if you don't have good seals around your windows and doors and things like that, your door sweeps aren't secure, things like that, they will, as they're hovering on the side of the house for warmth, they'll start squeezing through the cracks. So the best time in the fall really to treat them is to have a pest professional come out in the fall and get rid of them before they get into your house. Because if they do start getting into the house, they're looking for a place to overwinter. And so they're, going to get in the house and they're going to hang out and go dormant. And sometimes in the middle of the winter, when you get a warm, sunny day or something, you'll see a few of them and they kind of wake up and come around. But then in the spring, when they come out of hibernation, they're going to start looking to get back outside. So you're going to see a lot of activity in your house. So the best way is to get rid of them now. But if you do see them in your house, a simple vacuuming them up and getting rid of the bag is an easy way to take care of them. And then on the outside, actually, if you have a box elder tree, male box elder tree, they are attracted to that. And so really the best thing is to get rid of your box elder tree. But if you can't do that or aren't willing to do that, there are treatments for that, and we can certainly help with that. But yeah, in the fall, you'll start to see things like that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing so much information, Michelle. So how best with someone who doesn't want to find unwanted guests in their house, how can they best reach out to you?
Sure. So, of course, you can go to our website at www.coynepestcontrol.com is one way. You can also call us in the office here at 678-243-9901. And then you can also email me at Michelle with 2 L's at CoynePestControl.com. And Coyne is our last name, and it's spelled Coyne. So a little different, but any of those ways, we, would be happy to answer any questions homeowners might have. Sometimes they just have a question they need someone they can ask, and we also would be happy to help you out with any type of pest, termite, rats and mice, mosquito issues that you might be having that you feel like you weren't able to resolve yourself.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Michelle.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Anthony.
Well, for our next guest, we have Carolyn with Betty Carry LLC. Welcome to the show, Betty.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great, thank you for coming on. So give us a quick story as to how you were inspired to create Betty Carry LLC.
It's honestly, it's a really neat blending of my passion for firearms, my background in the Marine Corps, and also my recent completion of my health and wellness master's degree. I say that because I've always had a passion for shooting, and I learned shooting from my dad. And of course, he wasn't very well versed in the safety. Obviously, he didn't shoot anybody, but we hunted with his firearm. And back in the day, I learned about firearm safety mostly in the Marine Corps. Obviously, that's the best place to learn it. And then when I was doing my health and wellness degree, one of the courses that I did, we had to create a public health campaign and a course. And what I came up with, the idea was to teach a course on active shooter training or awareness program. I had mine initially based in the school setting and whatnot. And when I did that, I did that because when I went to Healthy People 2020, which was the website that we were sent to kind of pick a topic to focus our public health campaign on, I saw that Healthy People 2020 actually under their violence prevention program, they have 2 topics that are focused on reducing deaths due to firearms and injuries due to firearms. And I got really excited because I realized I can blend my firearms passion, my Marine Corps background as far as safety and awareness, along with an live active shooter type of program, and put it all under the umbrella of public health and wellness. And that's where I came up with Betty Carry. Betty is actually the name of my Glock, and I carry. So I came up with Betty Carry LLC. And underneath the Betty LLC, now I have the active shooter survival training, and I do private firearms lessons. And I also have a couple courses that I'm certified to teach with the NRA.
So what is kind of the relationship for those who are not in the know in the firearm world? How does that relationship correspond between the public health and the Alive active shooter training?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. I get really excited talking about this, so bear with me. Alive active shooter survival training is about increasing your awareness and paying attention to what's around you. The 5 steps of Alive are assess, leave, impede, violence, and expose. And Alive is the acronym that has those 5 steps. When you focus on those 5 things, what happens is you get trained on how to best survive in an incident like that. And then what happens is you have a better sense of wellness. You have peace of mind. When you're in a situation, you default to your highest level of training. If you're not trained on how to react, there's an impending doom in your gut that you really don't know what you would do if that situation came around. And then you realize, gosh, did I even consider that situation coming around? Am I in my society, in my neighborhood, and I think I'm in such a good community that won't happen here, But it does happen. And then going back to public health, what happens when it does happen? It affects the people that are injured. It affects their family members. It affects the community. It affects the first responders. And not just for physical injuries. I mean, you have long-term trauma, you have PTSD, you have people going to mental health counseling, you have neighboring schools in different counties that are worried because that happened in the county next door to them. So it's to me, it's about paying attention and protecting yourself, being aware, and getting trained on what to do if you find yourself in that situation.
Yeah, a little bit on the awareness part. Before the show, you're talking to me a lot about how people can go shopping, kind of pay attention on their phones and not being situationally aware. Kind of share with us a little bit more of what that first step looks like.
Well, for me, I can share it on a couple of different levels. I can share it as a civilian that I was before I went in the Marine Corps, and then I can share it as far as when I was in the Marine Corps, and then I can share it as a veteran. So I've had 3 different phases of my life now where awareness has been there, but the intensity has been different. So as a civilian, young female, whatnot, you're paying attention. You generically look around, you wear your seatbelt, you lock your doors at night, you don't go out to your car in the dark. Those are very good basic steps to pay attention to, but then you go into the military and, the big phrase is security is paramount. Security is paramount. That's like a buzz phrase. Everybody knows that. And it just becomes second nature. And so you find yourself doing more than just locking your doors and not going out in the dark. You find yourself moving in groups. You find yourselves being accountable. Accountability is everything. Do people know where you are? Do people know what to do if they don't hear from you? Are you being responsible and being proactive and figuring out, hey, these people might worry about me. And it's not about micromanaging somebody's movement. It's about being accountable for your personal safety and also the mental wellness of the people that care about you. Why put them through all that stress, make them worry about where you are? Coming out of the Marine Corps as a veteran, having an injury, most veterans have, disabilities. That's when I started to really carry for myself because my own personal sense of well-being was altered. And in a sense, it was brought back to reality because I think I really had an over-exaggerated perception of my own ability to protect myself physically, which was not healthy. But with me carrying, I feel like I've kind of evened it out a little bit, but I train with my firearm and I'm also very aware of my body mechanisms, mechanics, and what I'm doing. But as a veteran and with a disability, all of those things I just mentioned come into play. But now one more thing is I pay attention to what am I physically able to do. So now I'm in a situation, there's an active shooter in the building, there are things happening. I'm doing the assess process. I'm figuring out, can I leave? I'm looking to see what can I do to impede, block myself in, create time and distance to keep that killer from getting to me. Violence, if I decide to react and really protect myself and then expose myself eventually, what's the reality that I can really do those things? If I have a back injury, if I have a bad hip, if I have heart disease, if I have diabetes and I missed my insulin shot. If, all of these physical things come into mind, and you have to pay attention to what you can actually physically do to protect yourself. And without knowing the steps of Alive and without considering your own physical wellness and the surrounding environment that you're in, I mean, what are you going to do if you don't have any training? What are you going to do? You're probably going to freeze, or you're going to resort to what you last learned, which was probably in 8th grade when they were doing, dive under your desk drills,
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, people don't think about the training. So that's really the awareness when it comes in. You really have to look around. When you go into a restaurant, are you so excited to sit down and get that cocktail that you don't know where the emergency exits are? You don't know where the glass is in the front of the restaurant. Are you able to see the activity around you? You're not being paranoid doing that. You're not being obsessive controlling. You're being aware. And in today's world, unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and we have to prepare for it.
Well, you touch a little bit of your experience that make you question, okay, your ability to physically protect yourself. Would you mind kind of sharing us that experience that changed your thought process with that?
Well, I will, and I'll relate it to the Alive process. So when I talk about assessing the situation, say there's shots going down, there's firecrack. A lot of people think gunfire is fireworks. It's not, or there's someone coming in the building with a knife. I'm assessing the situation. I'm thinking, how far away are they from me? How fast can they get to me? What can I do to stop them from getting to me? If my back is altered and has mechanisms in it that are not of natural organic material like pins and screws and whatnot, I mean, is it realistic for me to think that I'm going to pick up a desk and slam it up against the door and wedge the door shut? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I might be better using my command voice and getting all the other non-altered people to do that for me and then keeping us all safe. You have to look beyond what you can do. The leave part, if I have to low crawl or bend over and hide to get out of a building, to get out of sight, can I actually do that with, the range of motion that I have? Can I actually do that? Or if I've had a knee replacement, is it realistic to think I'm going to crawl across the floor to get out of the way? Now, survival of the fittest will tell you, yes, you will crawl very quickly. But those are things you need to think about before you get into that situation. Get into that situation into your head, make a plan for it. Michael Julian, the creator of the Alive program, he came up with it. He coined a term and he calls it proactive reactionary. And that whole concept is being proactive and making a plan on how you expect or want to be able to react if the situation occurs. Now, of course, no one's going to say it's going to happen exactly that way, but at least you've created a scenario for yourself. You've taken inventory of your abilities. You've taken inventory of your work environment or your places of social life that you like to go to. You figured all that out and you have some kind of an idea. It's about being prepared before the incident occurs.
Mm-hmm. So where is this training being given?
Well, right now, the ideal situation is to give a live presentation. It's about a 3-hour comprehensive course. And there's a lot of video material in there, and it's very sobering. It's not a fun and games type of a brief. It's not, hey, we're going to log in, knock out this training. It's it hits you in the gut, and you look at the stuff in the training, and you talk about the things that we're going to talk about, and you'll go home really thinking about what you learned. Ideally, you can schedule a brief with me and I can come in and give it to the companies if they need to do risk assessments or they have mandatory training for safety throughout the year. They can call me and schedule a presentation. With COVID, obviously, large gatherings are kind of limited. So on my website, bettycarryllc.com, I have 3 online training versions of the course. There's the 3-hour comprehensive course, there's the 1-hour accelerated course, and then there's a 20-minute the 5 steps of Alive. None of the courses are pricey. I suspect that people would kind of resist the 3-hour commitment more than they would the cost of the course. And if someone finds themselves having that dilemma, I would ask them, what is the cost of your life? Is it dollars or is it time? And you have to choose which one's more important. And do you want to invest that time into yourself to being prepared in a situation? So on my website, if you want to schedule a brief, even if it's for next year, get it on the calendar, we can do that. Or you can just click on the button and do it on your own time.
It sounds like from the way you're describing, it's more of a state of mind, and it's not so much just being able to use a firearm, but really being prepared without even having to use. Is that kind of a general good summary or understanding of your business?
It very much is. With the Alive program, it's having a security mindset and having a survivor mindset. Obviously, security, ideally, you want to have that in place first. But if something were to happen, it's about having a survivor mindset. And a lot of people don't think about having a survivor mindset. Why? Because they don't see themselves in that situation to begin with. So you can't put the cart before the horse. I mean, it'll roll, but it's not going to be real easy. You'll end up pushing it instead of getting it pulled. But, security and then survivor mindset.
Is there something that, any other stories that you have that also change your perspective as to being a woman, and as you mentioned in terms of your experience having some kind of injury that kind of changed the way you look at, well, I could easily defend myself?
I think honestly, at the very root of it all, I think in my belief system is that it's our birth responsibility to take care of ourselves. You can rely on your government, you can rely on your neighbors, you can have the buddy system, you can have all of those accountability measures in place. But at the end of the day, at the very core of each person, there has to be that desire to live and to protect yourself no matter what, to decide for yourself, I'm here and I'm here for a reason, whether it be for me, whether it be for my family, whether it be because I have goals in life I haven't gotten to yet. But I'll tell you what, I will be darned if I'm going to let somebody come into my life on my time and take out their disgruntled issues with life and wanting to kill as many people in the shortest amount of time as possible, which is typically what active killers or shooters, that's their goal. Not today, buddy, not me. I'm not the one, and so you have to believe in yourself that, you're here for a reason on this earth, and it's not to be target practice for someone else.
So how does someone best find you, whether they want to be taught how to be more aware in their situation, being more defensive, or in your case, kind of look into a security mindset, and if they want to take a step further, having some additional training?
Well, I have definitely, my website is at www.bettycarryllc.com. And the homepage has all the information on the Alive program. And then there's a drop-down tab that you can go to if you want to set up times and schedules for private lessons for pistol shooting, or if you want to ask more about the NRA basic pistol or inside the home personal defense. That's all on the website, and there's a contact us page on there that you can send a message through, and I'll respond to that. I also have an email. It's bettycarryllc@gmail.com. And phone number is 470-366-3196.
Well, thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you so much.
Well, as a kind of a quick theme with our guest today, it sounds like there's a lot of planning and identifying issues and really getting to the source or potential source of the problem before you have uninvited or unwanted guests, either at home or someone outside. So as kind of a blanket question to our two wonderful guests today is, has there been an experience you've gone through where, this event happened, but we already had a plan for this, that this is just be another day at another office, and it's a good thing. And this is exactly why that we show to our clients in delivering value of why we plan and mitigate certain things. Carolyn or Michelle, you can jump right in as to what experience that either you have personally or through working with your clients, and your clients might have came back to you, oh, you guys were lifesavers. You said this would probably happen, and this is exactly what happened. You guys saved me.
Oh, I think for me, I think I'm unmuted, right? Yeah. I think you really don't know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. We're not soothsayers, we're not fortune tellers. We don't look into the future. I think peace of mind comes in the preparedness and the contingency plan. And in that peace of mind is where you live life.
And Michelle?
Yeah, I think, again, when you're doing a specific service like pest control, I think the training you have up front prepares us for going out there and encountering different issues. You're not going to know every issue you get yourself into. There's certainly experience will help you down the road, because if you're a brand new pest control technician, you probably haven't seen so much. If you've been in the business for 30 years doing this, when you walk into a house and that is infested with German roaches and they start dropping off the ceiling on top of you as you walk in, you will be more likely to know how to handle that situation. So, training, ongoing training, experience is all going to set us up to be able to help our customers and be able to kind of predict how, certain insects act, or how to prevent, whether it be mosquitoes or termites, things like that. So I think those kinds of things are important part of what we do in our business.
Well, thank you, Michelle and Carolyn. We learned a lot about how to expect, treat, and keep pests away, whether it's indoors or outdoors, or insect variety, or unfortunately sometimes human variety. Well, as for today's show, I'm your host, Anthony Chen. This show is sponsored and brought to you by yours truly with Lighthouse Financial Network. Securities and advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, RAA, member FINRA SIPC. RAA is separately owned, and other entities or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of RAA. Our main office address is at 575 Broad Hollow Road in Melville, New York, 11747. You can best reach me at 631-465-9090 at extension 5075. Or just my email at Anthony Chen, which is my full name spelled out, last name spelled CHEN at lfnllc.com. And until next time, thank you for listening to Family Business Radio.